Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the Area 51 podcast. I know all of you are still processing the visa filing fee update, and naturally, there's a lot of panic. Today, we've got Mr. Ajay Bhutoria, who I'm sure a lot of you know as a former advisor to President Biden for the AANHPI Commission, which is the Asian American, Hawaiian, and Pacific Islander Commission. And he's done significant work for the international community here in the sense that he was integral in ensuring that the pilot program for the stateside H-1B stamping was introduced in America, which was a success. He's also put in numerous recommendations to help the H-1B holders in America, including EADs for approved I-140 holders. So welcome to the show, sir. Thanks for making it today. And I'm sure a lot of folks will be reassured hearing from you on what's happening and any future updates, and if they need to do anything to improve the situation that's going on right now.
Yeah, thank you, Rahul, for having me. America is going through a course correction or a change in direction, which means that in 2024, when we were campaigning for Biden and then Vice President Kamala Harris, I clearly said to thousands and thousands of voters that there are two future America we can look at. One America with which President Biden, Obama, and Kamala Harris is looking for, which brings everybody together, working with our allies and partner around the world, and which is more compassionate and kind. And then the another kind of America, which will be divisive, which will be full of hate and racism, and which will be dividing our partners around the world. And now we are living in the second America because people voted for it. They shifted away from Biden, Harris to Trump. Before we begin, I just want to clarify one thing, that there's been too much panic. I've been getting calls. So I came to India for H-1B stamping. I'm getting my passport on Monday. What happens if I board my flight on Monday? I reach there Tuesday. Will they deport me? Or what should I do? I'm already on existing H-1B. And my company has to pay $100,000. I need to go see my parents. So they are in ICU. Please don't panic. If you are on existing H-1 visa and you are in the United States, you're safe. Good. If you are on H-1 visa and you have to go to India, you're already in India for renewal of your stamping, you get your stamping done and you can come back anytime. As long as you have valid stamping, you can come anytime. Your employer does not need to pay 100K for you. What does that 100K fees means? It means that when you apply for new H-1 next year, then the employer has to pay as application fee, which is around $2,000 to $5,000 plus 100K. Now, whether you get H1 in that time or not, the fees 100K has to be paid. But good thing is that there will be no lottery. There'll be no lottery.
Yeah, because no one's going to apply for it.
Right. So whoever applies will get it, right?
So the 100,000 is supposed to be paid before you get picked. I didn't know that.
Before you get picked. But I mean, you will get picked if you pay, right? How many 85,000 H1s? How many people will pay? If they pay 100,000, there's like $8.5 billion or more. I mean, that will pay off US debt, right? So not to worry about that. And you don't have to pay 100,000 per year. There was some miscommunication by Commerce Secretary Lutnick.
Gotcha.
So that's what they have to pay. So the next question, I think, Rahul, will be, how many companies will pay this 100,000? And will they? How many employees they will? So which will be a very less number of employees, because you have to put in your pay package. They have to increase your salary up to 150K, plus they have to pay 100,000. So you're already costing on the door around 250 to 300K. You can easily get that kind of skill in the local market with that kind of pay, and without having to go through the hassle. I have so many friends who are on H1. They have bought properties, they have settled down. They know that the green card process takes time. But, they're living their journey. Kids are growing up in schools, colleges. And now all of a sudden, if people have to leave and go, it's going to destroy lives, I mean.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, the amount that has been invested by visa holders in America, just to uproot all of that in one shot. And I'm not just talking about materialistic stuff, right? Relationships, communities, everything that they have is just overnight, it's gone. So it's that part is a little...
It will be devastating for America also. If suddenly, in Seattle, in Silicon Valley, in many areas, if people have to leave, which they don't, if they have to leave, hypothetically, I mean, they have to sell their houses, the property prices will crash, and and
Yes.
the amount of taxes and contributions they make to the economy, to the innovation, suddenly, US will be losing an edge. With whole of this new 100K going forward, US will be losing an edge on innovation. A lot of people come on startups, right?
Yes.
And
It's not easy to pay that amount for a
yeah,
startup. Yeah.
they can't pay to afford to pay 100K
Yeah.
and then become a startup. Well, they're struggling with their idea. They have good idea, but they're struggling to raise money, etc. So we'll be losing edge on that. We will be losing on a lot of rural hospitals. They bring doctors and nurses to serve the country and serve the people. They don't have that kind of budget, but they have the needs for these kind of
Yeah.
resources.
Yeah.
And they won't be able to hire highly qualified people either. I mean.
Yep, I'm sure that talent void will be felt pretty strongly if this is implemented. What's the chat in the Democratic camps? Did anyone see this coming, or is everyone in shock like the rest of us?
No, I mean, we saw that, right? During the campaign, they always talked about that H-1Bs are taking up your jobs. We saw that they are instigating their base on H-1B. And then after the election, immediately, if you remember in November, December timeframe, there was a big fight or backlash on Vivek Ramaswamy from their team.
Yeah,
He said something that, the MAGA people, they are not
yeah,
hardworking or something he
yeah,
said.
yeah,
And the H-1B people are hardworking. And that is such a backlash that he has to leave the DOJ
yeah, yeah.
and not Dodge team. And
Even Sri Ram Krishnan, right, when they
yeah,
made his
criticized for,
appointment as the
right?
AI, this thing that kicked off.
Yeah, for,
I don't know if you remember, sir, but December 25th for me last year, more than Christmas, it was the H-1B debate because it reached new heights during.
exactly, right?
Yeah,
So that was the whole reason to sacrifice Vivek Ramaswamy was to keep their MAGA base happy, Steve Bannon and others happy. So it was brewing. I mean, we all know that Stephen Miller has been a very strong proponent of combating the H-1B and all those things. And so I think he's one of the strong driver behind this whole change, which was expected to come. Um and
but not at this level, right? It's just not at this level.
Well, I mean, how they execute is
Yeah,
always their style.
yeah,
But I also want to add that, there has been a growing community, even within the Indian American community and in general, that kids who are born here and who go to college here and who do the right things, they are having tough times finding the right jobs. And not every kid, I mean, a lot of kids are very hardworking and they get their jobs, but a lot of kids have tough time getting the jobs, and especially in the tech area. So opportunities are not equal for everybody. What we have in Silicon Valley, all the tech jobs and high paying jobs. If you go to Pittsburgh, Kansas, or if you go to Michigan or Ohio or others, the same opportunities are not available for everybody. So when they see that, okay, fine, this guy came from India, from a rural part of India, he just had an engineering degree, which my son, the white guy's son, also has that same engineering degree, but he's able to come here and work and make 70 to 80,000. What does it bring? Is some Java or Python coding, and their kids have done the same, but they're not able to get the jobs. So I think that feeling has been there and it's growing up and up.
yeah, yeah.
And to a certain extent, it's true. When I was campaigning, I heard people, I talked to people. And so something has to be done about that. There was a need for H1 visas for many years to bring that innovation kind of people. But I do agree that recently the quality of people who are coming on H1 with the quality of skills they bring is something which locally plenty of those skills available. You don't need that. You need really highly skilled people. So the way it's done, the how it is done is not something I completely disagree. But I think there was a need for comprehensive immigration reform. Democrats had been fighting for it, but unfortunately, the comprehensive immigration reform required bipartisan support, so it could not be implemented.
Yep,
But I don't think this is the final word. There will be
yep.
challenges in the court in coming weeks.
That's right.
There will be
That's right.
challenges. Microsoft, Google, and all the CEOs, when they met few weeks back with the president, they might come back and say, "Look, you tried it out. This is not working. Could you make this
Change back.
exemptions or changes, amendments?" And I think that will how it will work out. I mean,
God, why is that even after so many years? When you say H-1B, you just directly equate it to tech. why doesn't anybody talk about any of the
Yeah,
other disciplines, right? There's so many people who are filling in: doctors, nurses, other engineering disciplines, right? And those are places where I feel like you do need this supplemental talent to come fill in those ranks, but nobody talks about it. It's all like, oh, this tech engineer came in, and it's all bloated up with people. And you also just said it right now, right? What the skill set that somebody's bringing in is also available here, but nobody talks about any other disciplines or any other industries.
I think over the year that H1 has been tied to tech, and also media, or especially Indian media has a role to play in it. When they come, they say Sundar Pichai, Satya Nadella, Santanu from abroad, and Elon Musk. They all came on H1, and they built tech industries, and they did that, and tech from India are fueling the US innovation, etc., etc. Those stories, I mean, so that hype which has been built up. Yeah, you're right. Nobody talks about doctors and nurses, people who are doing the frontline work in during COVID or in the hospitals and rural part of America, which is much
Because
needed.
those
Nobody
parts
talks
will
about that. But
those
that,
parts will be hit, right? So I mean, those are places where you actually
yeah,
need people, like those frontline
you do need. I
workers.
mean, you
It's
do need. You do need, and that's going to get hit. I mean, and so, but they put a exemption clause. So I'm sure, like tariffs, they came out. They will do 130% tariff on China. Then they came back down to 30%,
okay.
and so now they say, okay, you pay 100K. Then they say, okay, fine. If you're doctor and nurses, we exempt you, and if you're this, will you pay 30K? I'm sure they will come back with all these slabs and things and make it better. Or it's this style. I mean, initially you come with a big, so that the everybody
You
gets
soften the
nervous around
blow.
the whole and
Yeah.
panic, and then okay, you now they come back to the negotiation table. Japan came too early to the negotiation table
Yeah.
and agreed to everything, and then the Japanese prime minister has to resign.
So I've been reading a few articles on this, and I wanted to get your take on
Yeah.
this. A lot of people are saying that this is actually a tactic to get India on the negotiation table, because I know the discussions are going on. 50% tariffs are slapped on India, and I think the expectation was India would cave by now, right? But that's not been happening. And there's a lot of media articles that have been circulating stating that this is another way to get India back on the negotiating table. What are your thoughts on this?
India negotiation did not go well. Both the parties are to take responsibility for it. India was the first one to come to in March on the Liberty Day when they announced that this is coming up, tariffs. India was one of the first party to say, okay, fine, we are willing to sit down with you and we will negotiate with you on tariffs. At that point in time, he needed some deals so that he can show to his base that I've done some tariff deals. India took too long to come back with what they want to offer or what they want to agree. By that time, he has gotten certain deals with other countries. And then by the time India came back with offer, what happened was that Prime Minister Modi was in Canada for that some G20 summit, or I don't know which G7 summit or something. He wanted Prime Minister Modi to come to US at that point in time. And he also wanted to invite Munir from Pakistan and show to the world that he brought
Got
both of
to.
them together. And Prime Minister Modi declined to have that meeting, and he went back to India. That was the deterioration point. And then India did not give him a credit for any of the uh, Palgam attack. And then onwards, you have 25% tariff. Now you have 50% tariff. Or you have to, now they came up with all the things that you have to stop buying oil from Russia. The ambassador of US to India, Eric Garcetti, was a Democrat. He on the record said that we want India to buy the oil so as to stabilize the global oil market price.
Oh,
If
really?
India, yeah, if India were to give up whatever the amount of oil they need and stop buying from Russia, India should go buy from somewhere else, whether it's Saudi Arabia or Iran or Venezuela or US or any other country, right? Most likely US or other countries.
Yep.
First of all, India has to pay higher prices.
Yes.
Secondly, that will destabilize the global market because the demands will suddenly shoot up, and then the per barrel price will go up, which means that every other country has to pay more to get
Yep.
this oil.
I think
So to keep
Jay
that,
Shankar also said something similar of this line in one of the interviews. He said something exactly like how you just explained right now. Yep.
right. So then to keep the global market supply stable, the US said, okay, fine, you continue buying it and we have no problem with that. Now, India is not just alone buying it. China is the number one buying from Russia. Europe, they will freeze in the winters if they don't get the gas and supplies from Russia. Even though they're fighting against Russia, they're buying. I mean, they were one of the biggest buyers. I mean,
Yep.
so trying to single out India on this did not work. And then Pete Navarro and Lutnick, they all were insulting India every day and dead economy and everything. And now from dead economy to on Modi's birthday, Modi is my friend again. You know, it's a all U-turn, which was expected. I told everybody that there's going to be U-turn, but trade relationship will come to a negotiation and agreement in around November timeframe. But the relationship will not be the same. US needs India as much as India needs US
Yes,
to
absolutely.
to counterbalance China. There's no option. The biggest threat to US right now is not Russia or any other country, but it's China. China is strong with military, China is strong economically, and China has taken over so much debt of US that China can destabilize US economy by controlling the supply chain, by controlling the manufacturing, and so many other things. I mean, right?
Yep.
So US has to worry about China, and in order to counterbalance, US needs India, Japan, Australia in the Indo-Pacific region.
Yep. And this has kind of strengthened the BRICS alliance a little more.
That was the photo ops. It shows it has, in reality, we don't know. The photo op shows that bringing India, Russia, South Africa, China together,
Yep.
and that's could be the Trump sitting. Oh, I don't like Modi shaking hands with
Z.
Z. He's my friend, and he has to come back. And so he says, picks up the call on his birthday
Yeah.
and says good things.
Yeah. I think President Trump is a shrewd businessman. When I read those articles about putting this in place, it made sense a little bit. And like you said, I don't know, maybe in a few months by November, we'll see how it plays out. But I feel like
Well,
there's a larger thing at play, more than just targeting the H-1B folks.
to run a country, you need to be a good statesman. You need to be something which represents the world leadership. You're a world leader. You're the leader of the whole free world of the universe. I mean, right? So you need someone of that stature who thinks about all the allies, partners, and also you think about America first, think about Americans first, but at the same time, you have to give space to your partners to stand with you and do that. So if it's not only that you give me what is best for me and I don't care what happens to you, that doesn't work both ways relationship. India is the going to be the third largest economy in a couple of years, and it's moving ahead of Germany. And India has one of the largest, youngest youth force, which basically has a global market. So, and good thing is that India does not consume too much of imported stuff. So they can rely on themselves.
Self-sufficient. Yep.
Self-sufficient.
So we've got this in place now. We've got also, it's making rounds, the IT Offshoring Act, right? The additional 25% tax that companies will have to pay if they offshore businesses or services outside the country. Do you think all of this will have an impact on the Indian economy? Would it weaken it? Do you think it gets stronger from this? What are your thoughts on that?
Well, let's look at that if we think from the perspective of Google, Microsoft, Amazon, Facebook, Disney, or other companies, which almost every one of them have a big IT offshore office in India or in Brazil now. A lot of people are moving to Brazil, Philippines, Vietnam with their resources. And it's one thing is that they have their local operations business running there. Second thing is that their IT support is or tech support is from those countries. Could be
Correct.
from India, could be from China or Philippines or Brazil or other countries, Colombia. So you are working in a global environment where you want the whole HR is to bring on board the best people with the best skills who can work with the team, whether you are belong in Brazil or India or anywhere else, and you're fit for the good culture, and they hire you and they bring you on board.
Right.
Now, there's no constraint in time zone now. There's no constraint in communication tools. So people can work from anywhere. And having to say that you will tax 25% if your resources are out of the country, I don't think they legally can do that. Companies could say that, okay, fine, I have operations in 30.
Yeah.
What Disney has operations in 65 countries. Their products out there they're selling. Apple is selling iPhones in India. There was a crazy crowd in Mumbai last week.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know why would they do that, but yeah, I saw this people standing there fighting.
Every year it happens. The craze is too much. Yeah.
I mean, That was an achievement for those guys. I mean, they got an yellow, orange iPhone. I mean, that's the biggest achievement.
That's really funny. Yeah, but I think companies like Infosys and Wipro and TCS, I feel
Yeah,
like
let's talk about those companies.
yeah.
Let's talk about those companies.
And to be honest, in a way, if actually the H-1B rule just stated that those companies will no longer be allowed to send people here, right? That would be actually tremendous. The lottery would be drastically reduced, like you said earlier, without the
Yeah.
$100,000 fee. More people here who've come here, who've graduated from American universities, will have a shot at getting H-1Bs.
Right.
And you're not going to have a lot of the problems that they see, that and consultancies, right? If you look at these, you could actually make just the program right overnight.
So let's talk about the abuse of the H-1B system.
Yep.
I won't name companies, but there have been a lot of companies who have abused the system and gamed the system. I was on a project. I do tech consulting, implement, workday systems. And I was on a client size. They make one of the topmost shoe making company. Okay. And there are only two big shoe making companies, so it's one of them. So I saw there one of the biggest Indian, IT company had their resources out there working on a large project. And I happened to sit with them and talk to them. And I asked, somehow they came back that most of them were on B1 visa, visitor visa.
Oh no.
So they bring them on 3 months on visitor visa. They work on the project. They don't have to pay them salary. They pay them a lump sum amount, which is like $1,500 or $2,000 a month or something.
This is
Right?
happening
Which is,
now? This is a recent story?
it was 3 years back.
Wow.
3 years back. And
Wow.
I saw that, and then I said, that's illegal, right? How can you bring people and be, oh, we are here for training? But I said, you're not doing any training here. You're conducting design session, you're doing configuration, you're doing project management, you're doing testing and things. I mean, I was not there to speak against them, but I was talking to, I said, yeah. So that was abuse. So if they were doing it, this one of the biggest client,
Yeah.
then they're doing it many other places. They're bringing these people and not paying them, making money on the billing hours. Nobody's talking about L1 visa right now. But these
Yeah.
companies, they use L1 visa. L1 visa is company to company transfer, and they cannot work on site on the client side. But these people, they do work all this time on the on site. So I'm sure now big Indian companies, they cannot afford to get H1. They will use L1,
Yep.
and they will abuse it to certain lot of extent, and
Absolutely.
L1 will be cracked down. Now another layer of abuse is from Papa Mama consulting shops, body shops, who get someone in a remote part of Andhra Pradesh and promises him that if you come to US, I will get your H1 done. This guy, his father sells his land in the rural part of Andhra or Telangana and pays to the consulting firm upfront commission by giving the money in India or whatever, and then they sponsor H1. And so a lot of this abuse has been going on, and I don't have.
And just a note, so for people listening, what Sir's saying right now is he's not only targeting people from Andhra Pradesh. It's just an example that he said. It's all throughout India.
Of course, I mean, it could be people from Rajasthan or Bihar or Punjab or UP or from Beijing or from Colombia or from Thailand or things. Yeah, I mean, I love people from Andhra Pradesh.
Yeah, it's all over. We've seen it all over.
Because these people are innocent people. Somebody goes out and this AG consulting agency says, hey, I will do your H1. You can have a good life in US. And when they come here, in Fremont, they live in a one bedroom, 20 people.
Jeez.
And half of the time when they don't get project, they're working in restaurants, they're doing Uber, they're doing all of these things. So it's not that they're coming here and they're getting the best of the world and they're living a good life. So when the consultant says, okay, I'll pay you 60,000, but you have to pay me back 20%. They're doing all those things. I mean, so that is an abuse of the system. I mean, right? And now these guys, they cannot afford to pay 100,000 upfront for a new H1. So this abuse is gone, which I'm happy about it. And when you have these kind of resources, the local bonds were not getting job opportunities, which will be taken care of.
And one thing you'll hear from everybody who's on the H-1B, who's not committed fraud, who's come the right way, is that everybody is against the abuse of the system, right? Because what folks are not understanding is everyone pays a price for this abuse that a concentrated few folks are actually perpetrating over here. The problem with this is it was just sprung out of nowhere, and the rules of this and the way it's structured, this 100,000 filing fees, just made it literally impossible for any new application or any new company to file for an H-1B. Because, like we spoke about earlier, no company is going to say, "Hey, yeah, I'll hire him and I'll pay $100,000 for 3 years or 6 years or whatever." It's insane. It's unheard of.
Yeah, no, I mean, people who come on H1, as you said, are very ethical, they're very hardworking, they want to do good work, ethic. But, some small consulting companies and big consulting companies, they have built this system and they've found loopholes they have tried to abuse. That's what needs to be addressed. And sometimes you cannot address these things through a bended approach or small rule changes. So that's where drastic abusers need drastic measures, and this is what's happening.
Yeah, I just wish it wasn't this drastic. You've pushed a lot of policy changes for H-1Bs, right? One is the stateside stamping, which everybody celebrated because the pilot program was a resounding success. Everyone is excited. Everyone's still waiting for them to launch the actual thing. You've also pushed for EAD cards for approved I-140s, which would give them a lot of flexibility because the decades-long backlog to get that green card is insane. Do you think in this current administration for the next 4 years, is there a commission similar to what you were heading or chairing during the last administration? And is there anything that we can do to push that message forward?
Yeah, I was very fortunate when President Biden appointed me to the commission. One of the things through the campaign, I have been talking to people, I listened, and I came through H1 and I went through a lot of problems and things which, people are going through. I came on a student visa to do my MBA, and I just got married in India, and then I came here. I left my wife in India, and then we tried to apply for her dependent visa, and they rejected me, saying that I don't have enough funds even though I had enough money. Then we applied again. I borrowed some 50K from a friend and put money into my account, and they rejected it again, saying, you don't have your own funds. I mean, I don't know how to prove that, but so which means that for 2 years he cannot come to US or apply visa again. And I had 2 years, almost 18 months to complete my MBA. So do we live apart or what do we do? So I went through that situation. I went through H1 when IBM was laying off. I was with IBM and I had 30 days. At that point in time, it used to be 30 days.
Oh, it
I
was
had
only
30
30
days
before?
Yeah, it was 30 days.
Oh, wow.
So I had 30 days to find a new job or I have to go back to India. Luckily, on my 29th day, I got the offer, but they were not ready to transfer for my H1 because I had only 1 year remaining on my H1. So I went through almost every case scenario which people are experiencing. So I said, how can I fix all these things and make life easier for people who are coming in after me? I mean, so that's where I was leading all this policy recommendation in the immigration committee, which was not easy because I was being targeted that you're only fighting for illegal immigrants. What about this? What about I did write 30 policy documents on economic policies for small businesses, for mental health and others. But yeah, this one I pushed around with the State Department, with the USCIS, and they were able to translate these policies very quickly into actionable and got H-1B visa stamping. I was so happy that Prime Minister Modi announced during his visit that आप लोगों की बहुत ज़्यादा डिमांड थी कि H1 वीज़ा की स्टैंपिंग यूएस में हो, हमने ये करवा दिया. मैंने बोला हाँ मोदी जी हमने ये करवा दिया.
This was the Howdy Modi last 2 years ago, I think.
No, it was not Howdy Modi. It was in Chicago.
Was it Chicago?
Somewhere.
Okay.
Yeah, right before that, I had a one-on-one meet with him, and I said, Modi ji, I got this done. And उन्होंने बोला कि तुम्हें बहुत blessings मिलेगी and बहुत अच्छा है.
Oh, you've met him in person and you've communicated this one. That's awesome.
Yeah, I told him I got this done. I mean, so he told me you'll get a lot of blessings. And during that state lunch with Mukesh Ambani was also there on my table, and Anita Ambani was there. So they just asked, and I told Mukesh ji, this is what I've done. So Mukesh Ambani said, Ajay, I came on H1 here, and Anil also came on H1, and we understand
really?
the thing. I said, Mukesh ji, you came on H1? I can't believe that. He said, no, we came here at World Trade Organization or something they worked. I don't know what they did.
That's crazy. Yeah, that's crazy.
So the biggest thing which I wanted to get done was getting employment authorization card.
Yeah, that was a big
once you
one.
have filed I-140. Because, getting green card is like 15 years, 20 years, 40 years. And this journey kids age out, right?
Yep.
And then the kids have to go back to on H1. If you get terminated, now you have 60 days. I also wrote a recommendation to extend it to 180 days because there are 5 rounds of interviews these days and it takes longer time. But if you get EAD, then you can change jobs, you can do all those things. I mean, we could have gotten it passed in the next term, but we'll have to wait. I mean, so.
Yep.
Now,
Yep.
what can we do? I mean, it's very less this administration interested in doing any of these things. They don't have this commission anymore.
Oh, they
He
don't?
has,
Okay.
he has cancelled it. So I think we have to continue advocacy through the members of Congress and Senate. And then the best thing is that when we come back to 2028, we have to put a Democrat back in the White House.
Got it. Got it. Yeah, I think that's a long time to go. I hope we all make it till
Yeah,
then.
it's 2.5 years. 2.5 years. I mean, that's not a long time. In a blink of eye, we'll get to the midterms, and if we win, that will set the tone for the final year. But I also, at this point of time, I'm thinking that large part of the country has moved so far right, which means that not just Republicans, but a lot of Democrats are also moving so far right. And then you have candidates like AOC who are so far left.
Yeah, there's no middle ground. Yeah.
There's no middle ground. I mean,
Yeah.
Biden was like one centrist and middle ground. So I'm looking for candidates who are centrist and middle ground who can unify this left and this right people and move the country forward for a better future with policies and unify our allies and partners around the world and take everybody forward together. We can't be so far right. Then you're only doing 50% of the country. You can't be so far left. Policies, socialist policies or Mamdani's socialist policies or Bernie's policies. You have to somewhere in the middle ground. I mean, and that's where both the people that won't feel that they lost or they won,
Yep.
but
Yep.
you work in an environment where you'll have a lot of disagreements, but you can also agree to work together. I mean,
I think we've covered everything we had to. So thanks for making time. I know you had a busy day today. I appreciate you making time. I'm sure the community is going to be very interested to know what your thoughts are and everything that you shared today. Thanks for everything you've done for the community for the last 4 years. We've been following your work, and I know that sometimes there's frustration from within the community that things are not moving as fast as they should, and you've been at the receiving end of that, even though you've been fighting for us.
Oh, a lot. I mean, when I was in the administration, if I took a picture with Sunil Gavaskar or Hrithik Roshan, right? Okay, this is good, but what about EAD with I-140? What have you done? You have not gotten done.
No.
Okay, I said I've done H-1B stamping, but that's okay. But you have not gotten EAD with I-140. Biden has not done anything. Biden is not doing anything. Democrats are not doing anything. Every day. At one point in time, I said, I can't post anything. Because if I post, they will say, okay, fine. Where is this? That. But I know people are anxious, people are going through so many things. And it kept me motivated that, hey, I met President Biden on the campaign cycle last 2 years. Almost every 2 months, I was meeting him in person. I would use these opportunities to bring up something which was very important. But on 3 occasions, I only talked about EAD with I-140. I said, Mr. President, you need to do this. This is very important for the community, and I want the recommendation sitting in the White House, and you need to approve it and move it forward. I mean, so in my power, I pushed way too far I could do. I mean, there are constraints within the administration. There are constraints what USCIS can do.
Absolutely.
And USCIS Director Doug Rand, he personally in one of the discussions said that this is doable. And we could be doing a rule making could take from 1 year to 2 years, but this is doable. So you just need to keep pushing forward to get it done. I mean,
Yep, absolutely. No,
but I hope now people see what Democrats and I were doing and the difference now in their lives. I mean, but I want to close this with saying this, that tough times never last, but tough people do. Being on H1 is not easy. You're leaving your country, coming back here with a dream and with doing hard work, doing the right things and not seeing the result. If you have chosen this path in this journey, there will be challenges and tough times, but there's light at the end of the tunnel. Don't get worried about this panic with all these headlines and things. Sometimes one court ruling will say, we put a hold on this and this is gone. So things are changing very fast pace. Don't disturb your mental health or your family's mental health. Live day as you go and things get right. I mean, so.
Well, thanks for that, sir. Much appreciated, and thanks for spending time today. And I hope to see you back on the podcast very soon. And
No,
folks, if you
thank
have
you, Rahul.
if you have questions for Mr. Ajay Bhutoria, please post them in the comments, and I'll make sure that it reaches him. If you have anything particularly that you'd like to be addressed, but if not, I'll see you all at the next episode.